Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2565 The New Map of Hashu Kingdom 1. Look. He raised his hand and pointed to the huge area on the projection that resembled an open bone fan. Our Hashu Kingdom's 6 major administrative regions, Xinjiang, Northeast, Jiangnan, Northwest, Southwest, and East China Sea, are no longer geographically connected. At least 7 ancient civilizations have been inserted between us. For example, the Ironclad Clan's Advanced Zone, the Wildlands of the Fangwolf Clan, the World Tree Clan's Breeding Forests, the Sky Clan's Storm Corridor, the Titan Hunting Grounds, and even the outposts of some small, high-ranking clans that have not yet revealed their names. They stood between us, like a wedge, separating our 6 districts from one another. As Zhang Yi marked red areas on the map, representing the territories of ancient civilizations, the gazes of the high-ranking officials in the 6 regions became serious. Indeed, the Hashu Kingdom has now been divided into many fragments. If they wanted to communicate with each other, they would have to pass through the territories of other ancient civilizations. This is likely to become extremely troublesome. Meng Yuanjun frowned and said, "In that case, the so-called preservation of Hashu Kingdom's territory doesn't seem so perfect." Li Changgong crossed his arms and said calmly from a seat in the East China Sea region, "With the strength of Hashu Kingdom alone, it is impossible to contend with so many ethnic groups at the same time." Ji Chonghai also looked grave, stroking his chin with concern as he said, "In a while, those alien races might push forward and invade our territory. At that time, we might really become 6 isolated islands, fighting our own battles and unable to provide timely reinforcements to each other." As he said this, he glanced at the senior executives of other regions. He then said quietly, "Right now, we rely on the strength of Tianhai City to fight against the alien race. If the 6 districts were to deal with an ancient civilization alone, the consequences would be..." He didn't finish speaking, but it was as if he had already said everything. Without the existence of Tianhai City, even if the 6 major districts were merged into one, it would be extremely difficult to fight against an ancient civilization. Moreover, they've all scattered. "Yes," Zhang Yi said, "I don't like this situation. So, I have an idea now. Let's abandon this illusory face. After the territory of Hashu Kingdom expands, its geographical area will be enormous, but its population will be less than 100 million. Therefore, let's just abandon the territories on the periphery. Let's all gather together." As he spoke, the projection map unfolded in layers, and a ring of markers lit up. "Look here and here and here." He illuminated a large area in the heart of the Central Plains. It is an area with relatively flat terrain, balanced resources, fertile soil conducive to agriculture and animal husbandry, and a still healthy groundwater system. "We should proactively abandon the scattered cities on the periphery." Zhang Yi said, "We must gather all the main forces, industrial backbone, scientific research core, granaries, and population together. For urban construction, unimportant resources can be discarded. With our current level of industrialization, building a city would only take a few months." He envisioned the new blueprint for the Hashu Kingdom. From now on, when we talk about the Hashu Kingdom, it will no longer be 6 separate territories that are guarded separately. Instead, it means that our 6 major regions are combined to form a truly unified whole. The meeting room was silent for a few seconds. Everyone was looking at the map Zhang Yi had given them, weighing the pros and cons in their minds. They all understood that Zhang Yi's suggestion was valid. Only by uniting can we fight against the alien race. We won't be defeated one by one. However, such a large-scale migration is by no means easy. Xiao Lai was the first to frown. "You mean the Northwest region is going to withdraw most of its border? What about my people? If we loosen our grip on that sand belt, wouldn't that be the same as opening the gateway to the Northwest?" According to the map provided by Zhang Yi, the northwest region will have to give up 80% of its territory, leaving only a portion near the Qinling Mountains. He was still a little reluctant to give it up. After all, it was a territory he had cultivated for many years. It's not about abandoning them. Zhang Yi looked at him and patiently explained, it means we shouldn't use our main resources to fill that hole again. The population density in the northwestern sand belt is already low. We are not trying to move people into the desert. We are trying to stop the border from pretending that it can withstand everything and from being so concerned about saving face. Give them a notice and move them inland immediately. The first wave of people to move are those in key positions, important technicians, the next generation of children and teenagers, and those who do not have the ability to fight on their own. Xiao Lai replied, the northwest region still has a population of over 10 million, so the migration here won't be quick. Zhang Yi clasped his hands together in a pagoda shape and said earnestly, use all available fighter jets, snowmobiles, and special trains from the snow country. Don't worry about energy. The current Hashu Kingdom has plenty of those. Moreover, we have just negotiated with the alien race, and even if it slows down the progress a bit, they will not launch a large-scale attack for the time being. Xiao Lai fell silent. Zhang Yi meant that the more than 10 million people in the northwest region should be relocated to the vicinity of the Central Plains region, no matter what. Even if it causes some losses, it doesn't matter. All he needs is the result. The execution is Xiao Lai's business. Xiao Lai understood that the so-called Northwest Gateway was no longer that important in the grand scheme of things. If the overall situation is to be unified, then personal feelings about one's region must indeed give way. The same applies to the northeast region. Zhang Yi turned to look at Zhichonghai. Those ice fields near the border in northeast China have been repeatedly probed by unknown cold region creatures. There's no need for us to stubbornly hold onto an entire city cluster on the edge of the extreme cold death zone. Commander Ji, you lead your men and slowly move south, transferring the main urban clusters into the central area we've designated. Don't let the people scatter. The more remote the small settlements, the tighter the control should be. Ji Chonghai crossed his arms, his expression as if he had swallowed a mouthful of wine. His Adam's apple bobbed, and finally he said in a muffled voice, fine. Being away from home can inevitably make people feel sad. But now is not the time for sentimental feelings. East China Sea region, Zhang Yi turned to Li Guangxiao. The same applies. The naval port can be retained, but don't place the research center there. Xuanwu and Zhuke, you two must guard the coastline at all costs and prevent anyone from breaking in. Don't even think about fighting it out at sea. I know, Li Guangxiao sighed. We've made our own preparations, and what you've said really resonates with me. Southwest region. Zhang Yi looked at Juegua and Luozhua. You border Barada, and that direction is the most unstable right now. You all know Indra, but he never cares about neighborly harmony. Instead, he believes in divine authority. I don't expect him to behave himself. First, stabilize the morale of the people and avoid direct confrontation with Barada. Leave people to keep watch on the border, but do not keep the main army stationed on the other side of the border. Retreat the major cities inland and connect them with the heartland. Chapter 2560, the new map of Hashu Kingdom 2. Juegwa stared at Zhang Yi, hesitatingly asking, but what about our tantric Buddhist temples? As a reincarnated living Buddha, his primary concern is the faith and lineage of tantric Buddhism. The Jokhang temple still stands, and so does the people's faith. If they were to move south, the temples would be destroyed, and the foundation of their faith would disappear. That's easy to handle. Zhang Yi seemed to be fully prepared. I know that your southwest region is industrially backward. I will send a mechanized legion to help you when the time comes. Those ancient Buddhist temples marked each brick and beam with a number, disassembled them, transported them to the mainland, and reassembled them. They were guaranteed to be exactly the same. The two brothers who were buried were finally relieved. Amitba, since that's the case, we have no further objections. As for the Jiangnan region, the relocation was originally centered around the Jiangnan region, so there is no need to change it. The same principle applies to the Shengjing region. The entire Hashu Kingdom essentially contracted its outer perimeter inward, becoming more solid. After Zhang Yi finished explaining his plans, he glanced at each of them. "I know," he said, "that each of you will have some resistance in your hearts. Who wants to retreat from the land they've conquered? Who wants to tell the people themselves, we're moving inward? Who wants to admit that we can't be the guardians of the entire territory at this stage? But let me explain clearly. We are shrinking our lines, not surrendering. This is the first time in a chaotic situation that our 6 regions have been truly bound together as a whole. From now on, we will no longer be 6 regional alliances. We will be one entity. The defense line needs to be transformed from a broken hexagonal shape with shaky edges into a complete closed loop. What we need is a cohesive unit that can stick together and fight to the death. It's not a matter of 6 strongholds each holding out until the very end, only to be defeated one by one." At this point, everyone around the conference table fell silent. No one objected. It's not that Zhang Yi's suggestion is perfect. If time allows, they can discuss it slowly and find a better solution. However, they didn't have much time left. Zhang Yi, who held absolute power and influence, offered some decent advice, which they naturally applauded. The power structure of the Hashu Kingdom has always been such that the person in charge holds absolute power. No one mentioned their respective independent defense zones and existing powers anymore, because they all understood. This is the first time in history that the 6 major regions have truly aligned themselves with the will of a central government. Seeing that no one objected, Zhang Yi went on to explain in more detail. "And there's a third point I want to make." He placed several dots of light on the projection, clearly indicating the landing point. "I want to build a transmission belt on our closed loop." The conveyor belt, shaped like a 6-pointed star, looked somewhat comical, but Zhang Yi took it very seriously. This connects the core cities of the 6 administrative regions together. Li Changgong glanced at it and immediately frowned, saying, "Do we really need to build such a complex and extensive railway network? Given the current situation, it's too troublesome. Anyone with even a little knowledge of railways can see how ridiculous this is. But what if this isn't a passage in 3-dimensional space?" A meaningful smile appeared on Zhang Yi's lips. He pointed to the 6-pointed star on the map and continued, "What I'm going to build is not an ordinary highway, nor an underground bunker. It's a spatial gate coordinate network." Upon hearing these words, many people's eyes lit up instantly. Spatial portal? In a world where superpowered individuals exist, spatial portals are not so strange. In particular, the person who made this suggestion is the #1 space-type ability user among the 6 generations of people in this world. Zhang Yi continued, "To put it simply, it's cross-regional single-step relocation, allowing each of you to be deployed to the front lines of any war zone within 3 minutes when needed. Once we achieve this, we will have truly completed the integrated defense." Han Shanzhua rubbed his buzz cut and asked in confusion, "Brother Chaos, your abilities don't seem to be in this area, do they?" "My abilities are lacking, but others' abilities are." He raised his hand, and another small projection lit up in midair, showing a young man with a slightly pale face but sharp eyes. Tianjiexing Daihuang, a high-level spatial ability user from the Shengjing region. You've all witnessed his abilities before. Some of you may remember his nickname, while others may not, but that doesn't matter. Zhang Yi said calmly, "The important thing is that he can do it." The celestial stars Hupu has the ability to depict spatial coordinates and perform real-time teleportation. In the first major battle against the invasion of the Uluwata Empire, he used his abilities to severely damage the false gatekeeper of the underworld using the infinite train. His abilities lean toward support, and his combat skills have never been seen. However, putting him in charge of this project is the perfect fit. Daisheng is responsible for establishing a primary coordinate point in our hinterland. These coordinate points will be reinforced, marked, and solidified to become the center of our space transmission, and he will be responsible for overseeing it 24 hours a day. While this may sound cruel, with current biological and medical technologies, we could modify his body to the point where he doesn't need sleep to do so. The second step is to establish coordinate anchor points in the core cities of the 6 major regions. Then, he will lead a team to train a group of space-type ability users to help him master the process of using long-distance force teleportation. In the future, if any high-risk conflict occurs at any point along the border, or if a high-level alien invasion occurs, command will be transferred directly to me. I can transfer the most suitable people to the places where they are most needed in a very short time. Yes. He paused, then gently tapped the table. Our next step is to integrate the troops, experts, and resources of our 6 regions into a combat group that can be deployed at any time. To put it more bluntly, from now on, you will all have to obey my orders. No one spoke, but the air was subtly changing. The phrase, "at my command," made everyone realize that the next power structure was beginning to take shape. Instead of each of the 6 regions having its own top leader, there are now 6 war zones, all under the same command chain. Zhang Yi's gaze wasn't sharp. He was simply stating something that should be taken for granted. He doesn't mind anyone expressing their dissent, nor does he mind anyone withdrawing from the project. To put it bluntly, the protection of the entire Hashu Kingdom is only because of that little bit of incense offering. Zhang Yi welcomes anyone from the 6 regions who disagrees to leave at any time. After Zhang Yi finished speaking, he paused for a while, but no one objected, and no one even showed any reluctance on their faces. Even if you have complaints, keep them to yourself. Never do something that will cause a complete breakdown in relations. If they said it, it would be like breaking ties with Zhang Yi completely, and they're not stupid. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive.
That's
Thanks.
the today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises.